thank you for this, but now I will stop sharing my screen, and I will let Yngve, who is a super data-oriented person. I think Yngve has the most data in the world about the startups. And if you don't believe me now, you will believe it soon. I've asked Yngve here to say motivational words, also share about himself and his ideas. Yngve, the floor is yours. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm, of course, very, I just have to do all the stuff here. I'm, of course, very flattered to be invited to speak by one of my superheroes in entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship research. I don't really know if you realize how inspirational Pekka has been in this work in particular, and in a lot of other stuff. So I'm really flattered to be able to be here, and I will start my clock. So there I stole 30 seconds before even getting there. Do you guys see an entrepreneur here? I will try to speak real fast about a very strange combo of a commercial company and my PhD work. We decided at some point that it wasn't possible to run our commercial company without having some sort of relationship to academia. And we decided to do an industrial PhD based on that. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. So what I'll start with describing the research objectives of my PhD. And perhaps sounds a bit strange, but I'll do that very fast. Then we will discuss a little bit about what an entrepreneurship management system is and how that can be used in the entrepreneurial community and how you can get data from it and how you can use those data. And to go deeper into that, we're going to describe the theory we build it on. We're going to describe the systemic entrepreneurship activity method, which is the core model of what we do. And then we'll talk a little bit about the conclusions of this all. It sounds chaotic. I hope it won't be. I hope we will be able to get some sort of logic out of it. Give me some body language responses if I'm totally off track, guys, here. So I'm going to start with making 4 definitions. The first definition is an entrepreneurial project. That's basically what we do work with and what we do research. That's different from individual entrepreneur, and it's different from a company. So an entrepreneurial project always contains one or many entrepreneurs, and it might contain a company or not. Then we're gonna talk about the entrepreneurship support program, which is all kinds, that it's a common denominator for all incubators and grant programs and absolutely everyone who somehow gives money or competence, mentoring, training to entrepreneurs. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship activity system, which comes from Zoltan Ahmed, and it's defined as a set of interdependent organizational activities centered around an entrepreneurship project, including those conducted by the entrepreneurship project, but also partners, vendors, and customers. And then in the end, what is an EMS? That's an entrepreneurship management system. That is the computerized management information system specifically designed to manage entrepreneurship projects. Okay? Now, the starting point is, of course, that entrepreneurship is important. About 50% of the value creation of today is made in or within entrepreneurship projects. Entrepreneurship project is super important for the society because it's such a high percentage of the value creation, also innovation and growth. It's very important for the individuals, whether they are entrepreneurs because they really want to, or whether they are entrepreneurs out of necessity. And it also seems to be very related to sustainability. If we can't get sustainable entrepreneurship, it probably will be very hard to have sustainability at all. Because of this, there is an enormous amount of money spent on entrepreneurship and on entrepreneurship projects. Just to mention one example, in Norway, the yearly spend on programs are about 11 billion Norwegian kroner, so a little bit more than 1.1 billion euros. What hasn't really been looked so much upon is whether these entrepreneurship support programs work or not. So when we started looking at this, we thought that, all right, we know that some entrepreneurs participate in entrepreneurship support programs. And then we know that some of these entrepreneurs have some sort of success, whether you measure that in survival or growth or profitability or whatever. But even if you know, which you don't, which entrepreneurship project has participated in the programs, and you know which one of those have some sort of success, you still don't understand the causal relationship between the participation in the ESPs and the success. You don't understand what is actually happening. So this is why we try to introduce the concept of the entrepreneurship activity system in here, to sort of see both what is it that happens in the ESPs that changes the activities of the entrepreneur, and how does these activities relate to the success rate of the entrepreneurs. So the research questions of the PhD was two. The first one, how does an entrepreneurship management system need to be designed to make sure that both projects and support programs use them, and also that we can analyze the activity data coming out of them? Secondly, to what degree does the entrepreneurship management system data provide real observation of entrepreneurial project activity and the impact of the entrepreneurship support programs? So very sort of straightforward. The findings of this. How does the entrepreneurship management system need to be designed to secure adaptation by both entrepreneurial projects and programs, as well as allow for effective analysis of the activity data? What we found was that the entrepreneurship management system needs to have clearly defined objectives for each of the programs. It needs to have a common set of elements in it, which are the same for all the projects and all the programs. These elements need to be structured in some sort of logical order or workflow. And when we analyze it, we have to separate between the projects and the individual entrepreneurs and the companies behind them. In addition to this, it's very important that the entrepreneurship management system is supported by proper programs with well-trained mentors or advisors, and it needs to be followed over a period of time, 9 to 12 months, probably. We also see that giving an entrepreneur access to an entrepreneurship management system without either a support program, so physical mentoring or advice around it, or at least a massive online open course version of it, doesn't really provide any good entrepreneurial project development. So to illustrate this, a program and a project has to have a clear mandate. So that the entrepreneurship support program has to really know what they want. Where do they want to move the entrepreneurs? When an entrepreneur participates in the program, what is it supposed to take? Where is it supposed to take them? Secondly, we see that the different participants are giving more value to each other in the programs than the actual advisors or the concept of the program. So the right participants, the motivated participants, and participants with a fairly similar background has to be recruited into the programs. The programs have to be built on a solid theoretical foundation. They have to build on a common method. They have to have qualified advisors utilizing the method and the foundation. And only if these 5 things are in place, an entrepreneurship management system, this is a little bit of a typo, has got any kind of value. So a computerized system doesn't really help if you don't have all these other elements in place. But of course, if you do, then the organizing these structures into a computerized workflow has got a lot of merit, and it also allows for much better analysis of what's actually going on. Pekka, am I sort of on the right track here, or should I do some sort of a 90-degree turn?
I think that you are completely lost, but I think that you are lost in the right way, because nobody is expecting. Because this entrepreneur system is very. There are a lot of ecosystem players in this talk, so it's not only, let's say, future entrepreneurs, and but it's also people who are part of the education system, as well as actually providing the mentoring and support. So I think that this, like, holistically makes complete sense.
Fantastic. Then I'll just explain it a little bit deeper, and I think I'm on track to do the time quite right. So the first thing we did, and this was one of Pekka's big contribution, he was involved in this. We published it 3 years ago. We went in and we did a proper analysis of the entrepreneurship and startup literature. So you start with about 65,000 papers, and of course we read it all. No, we didn't, because we did the math and found out that if I read 2 of these papers each day, it will take me 135 years to finish it if I take 4 years summer holiday and weekends off. But we went in and did the proper literature study, and we did it by looking at which books, articles, papers, practical, academic, of all sorts, are actually being cited by other academics, which methods, books, papers are being used by the practical entrepreneurs and their helpers. In addition to that, we systematically looked for normative theories. We looked for theories saying how entrepreneurs should behave, building on Peter Drucker's famous statement that entrepreneurs can be thought. And we also tried to select methods that would work together in a sort of a paradigm. So we didn't mix the round earth and the flat earth theories together in the same the concept. And we ended up with this, what we call the 6 pillars of entrepreneurship, starting with Shane and Venkatamaran's way of looking at entrepreneurship as opportunities, building to a large degree on the research-based view and Prahlad and Hamel's construct of core competence, and also all the following sort of thinking around there, going over to effectuation, bricolage, ending up with sort of what people really know, which is business modeling, lean startup, design thinking. And looking at this together, we saw that this more or less is the theoretical foundation that modern entrepreneurship support is built on, one way or the other. But of course, for practical entrepreneurship, we can't just give them the theories. So what we've done, and this is done over 8-9 years and over 4 main iterations, we've developed what we call the systemic entrepreneurship activity method. This says that entrepreneurs do and should work in a structured manner, starting with what we call the purpose, looking at motivation, values, vision, then trying to define resources of different kinds, going into what we call the business ID, which tries to explain what problem the entrepreneur will solve for which target group, using which core competence, and also trying to figure out whether that problem is actually something worth solving. Going to the next step, which is the how do they solve this problem, basically defined by the business model, looking at things like what does the product or service look like, how do you sell, how do you price, etc. Before we go over to the 3 last steps, which are the project management steps, defining the objectives of the project, looking at which tasks that has to be performed to reach these objectives, and in the end, looking at the dynamic forecast of this. And this, of course, is an iteration where you go back and forth in the lean matter, and typically our project doesn't go once through this, but perhaps 10 or 15 or 20 times over the time. Built based on this SEAM model, we built a software. So basically an entrepreneurship platform, which consists of both a central sort of construct where the entrepreneur goes through these 27 steps, very structured, but also a interface for the advisors where they can look at the different projects, and also a workflow, communication, meeting arrangement, forecasting structure here that is the ecosystem communication part, where all the different players in the ecosystem collaborate with each other. So based on this, we also gave, as Pekka said, we've released this as a handbook in different languages. And we've run more than 75 programs together with our partners over the last 10 years, bringing more than 25,000 entrepreneurs through one of the 4 sort of iterations of these programs. We're currently in 7 countries, and this is what have led to what Fraunhofer Institute has called the biggest collection of entrepreneurship activity data in the world. So what actually happens is that, for instance, the Water Institute of Southern Africa do monthly programs for entrepreneurs in 5 Southern African countries, bringing them into this model. And then that again generates activity data from these entrepreneurs and also from the communication within the programs that we can measure. I'm getting towards the end there now. I really want to show you just a little hint on how we can use this data. It's a 2-minute little video. This is where we get our more than 4 million cards from our 25,000 entrepreneurial cases. Then we, in this particular case, go in and we select 2 different programs. In this case, a program ran in South Africa by the South African Brewery, and a program run in London by the University College of London. So these are academics on the master level, and these are very young entrepreneurs, typically between the age of 20 and 23 in Africa. Then we've done a quantitative and a qualitative, very simple search on each of them. So I'll just start this video and I'll try to explain as we go. Now, what happened first here is that we just flow in all the cards. This whole thing took about 40 minutes to do. We decide which of the variables in the data warehouse we want to focus on. So here we look at the elements and the programs mainly. Then we go up here and we select from the list of programs. We have about 75 programs, and here we select what we call the Boost Bootcamp, which is this specific program ran in South Africa. At the same time, which we don't show, we do the same thing on the lower branch here for UCL. Then we go in and we say that we will only look at, out of the 27 elements, we will only look at the ones that are related to the business idea and the business model. So ID 1 to 3 and model 1 to 6, we take away the interview. So we look at 9 elements here. And then we just run them in and see what order did different cases structure these elements in. Where did they start? Where did they go? So we say that we see that, for instance, case number 8159 here started with ID 1, went to ID 2, ID 3, model 1, model 5, model 6, etc., etc. So that's the individual order of the element creation within that particular case. But to use it to something, we aggregate it. So we do a overall look, what's the most common starting point? What's the most common second position, common third position, etc. And we separate it within these two programs. And if we chart it, we'll see some differences here. We see that for the African community, for the African program, they sort of goes a lot up and down and back and forth between the 3 first program, which is the 3 first element, which is the business idea, and the 6 latter elements, which is the business model. Whereas in the more sort of skilled program in England, people are spending more time on the business idea in the start and going back and spending a longer time, so a second full iterations on the business idea later on. So it separates quite well. Then we also go in and look at one specific element category here, the M6, which is the price model. And we just want to look qualitatively on that. So we take the 56 character word input that people put into those specific cards, and we do some pre-processing and concordance of the words, and we take a look at the word cloud, basically do it as simple as that to see what do people put in there. And for the Africans, it's cost, pricing, price per unit is pretty much straightforward. Whereas if you take a look, and we'll just see how we do it. We just take this pre-processing text thing here and choose one of the widgets. We choose a word cloud widget. And then we see that the English, the master students, they have a much more advanced way of looking at pricing. So it's recurring revenue, monthly subscription, etc., etc. Of course, we can do all kinds of analysis, and we can do it real fast because all of the data.
We have 4 minutes left, so 4 minutes. Time.
Yep, I'm good on that.
Yes, 4 minutes.
Yes, I say I'm good on that.
Okay, I can say also in Norwegian, 4 minuter.
Yeah, thank you. So very straightforward. What do we learn about EMS data and observation of entrepreneurial projects? So the second question. First of all, we know that entrepreneurial projects are willing to use an entrepreneurship management system. We know that programs are willing to use it also, and to force the entrepreneurial programs to do the same. We've seen that we were a little bit concerned whether people would just use this as an initial, making a business plan in the first, before they started and then leaving it. But no, they are working iteratively with this over time. So the lean startup conceptuality works. We've found 4 main types of motivation for starting an entrepreneurship project, which is often combined. And we also see that the entrepreneurial programs typically work after the resource-based view. So these are just some findings. I'll just skip over this. The conclusions. We've seen that the entrepreneurial management system can contribute, the data from it can contribute to understanding entrepreneurship. And we also seen that differences in entrepreneurial behavior can be explained by which programs they have participated in. We also have seen that an entrepreneurial management system allows for live monitoring and experimentations of a high number of highly motivated entrepreneurs. We just did a paper on business modeling, and the last paper the paper we checked that had done the most observation had 9 case studies, and we ran it in with 4,000 observations from our database. So it's sort of a new way of doing it. 3 contributions, 1 to academic knowledge, saying that we've sort of extended the business model towards a more holistic activity system built on the 6 theoretical pillars. With regards to the research practice, the contribution comes from the database and the access to, well, right now it's 25,000 entrepreneurial project, but it grows with more than 1,000 a month right now. So the IDs, I'm going to show the IDs afterwards, what they're going to be like. So that can be used for a lot of entrepreneurial activity research. And to entrepreneurship practice, we've shown that we can distribute a practically proven concept for running an effective entrepreneurship support program that exists and it's being used and it has effect. Last slide, what are we going to do in the future? We're going to continue improving this. And the goal is in 2024, we're going to have 100,000 entrepreneurial projects and 1,000 programs under monitoring in the concept. I don't know, still within time?
You are in time and you will not be punished, so that's very well done. We have some questions from the audience, but before that, I just have one question because it seems that you have a lot of data, which is real data from real entrepreneurs. So here we have future entrepreneurs here. We have the whole ecosystem around those entrepreneurs. We'd like to become users of this system. We'd like to benefit. We would like to have our entrepreneurs also benefiting from it. How would that work out?
Well, first of all, the EMS as such is Creative Commons. So any entrepreneur can use the standardized EMS as much as they want to forever. That's the core of it. The C method is of course also publicly available. It's published in papers, so it's available. What we are really wanting to do is to have, in the same way as we have offices in Germany and the Netherlands and South Africa and England, etc. We are looking for the right way to go into Finland. So that would be a fantastic opportunity. I think that what we typically do with, for instance, a university is that we white label our method. We go through a very short discovery, so a process mapping session. Then we make, in this case, a specific version of the EMS for the University of Jyväskylä that can be used in the incubator, that can be used in the teaching, etc., etc. When the entrepreneurs use the system, that will generate Jyväskylä specific data. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is we are now building what we call the SEAM Research Center, where we work to make all of the data available to every researcher in the world for doing all kinds of analysis. We are currently 7 people who are working more or less full-time with that.
Thank you, Yngve. In the interest of time, I think that this discussion will go, because I think this is very interesting. I asked first Mika Korhonen's question, and then I will ask Juha Saukkosen's question. So I will start with the Mika Korhonen, who wanted to know that based on the research, are you able to inform the Norwegian government, what is the best way to spend those 11 billion kroner to the entrepreneurship? What is the best way?
We actually had a meeting with the department today, and they are working on a project which they call the ecosystem infrastructure, which is because there is an enormous amount of programs. There are more than 250 programs in Norway right now, but they're not coordinated. And if you're an entrepreneur, you don't know where to start. You don't know which of these programs are relevant for you. And all of the programs have a set of more than 3,000 advisors who are all using methods that they've invented themselves. Some of them have read some books, others have not. And there is a total lack of communication between the academic entrepreneurship world and the practical entrepreneurship world. So I'm pretty clear.
Point. A very valid point. Final question before we go. Juha Saukkonen wants to know whether your results give support to some generic program model or management system, or should there be an array of different models for various different kind of contexts? What is your viewpoint?
My viewpoint is that there are some very broad, general concepts that is generally valid. We call them the the base concepts. And then there are specific learnings depending on 3 variables. That's vertical industry, it's life phase of the entrepreneurial project, and it's geography and demographics of the entrepreneur. So based on those 3, there are a lot of individualizations and specifics, but in the bottom, there are some very, very basic concepts that everyone should follow. For instance, you always should make your business ID before you make your business model. You should always make your business model before you try to build a forecast. But we have to try to limit ourselves to not saying some specific things about how you should sell or how you should market, because that's depending, of course, of these variables that we find.
So thank you for this. And if we want to reach out to you, how do we reach out? Otherwise saying, Pekka, what is Yngve's contact? So what is the best way to contact you?
Yngve@entrepreneurial.com.
All right, you can write that to the chat box, and we give a warm, nice hand to Yngve for a great, insightful talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
I remind you that the EMS can be used by all the entrepreneurs. I think that's a valuable. It's out there. We should benefit from it. And Yngve's email is there. And let's go forward to our program. Next speaker comes from the heart of the incubation in Jyväskylä, the magical business factory, the Yritystehdas. And the man goes by name of Marko Sorri. So Marko has promised us to, let's say, give the new wins of Yritystehdas in 5 minutes. Thank you, Marko.
Oh, 5 minutes, that's only. Okay, I will be fast. Pekka, do you see there's the word wings now in the topic? So I updated it. My privilege is to bring greetings from Startup Factory of Jyväskylä, and I'm super happy to be part of Startupday, which is a very important topic. We truly believe that the startup companies are the ones who are forming the future actively, not waiting the future to happen passively. There are several ways how the startup companies have helped me and giving wings to me personally on everyday life. If I think about how I nowadays buy groceries, Digital Food is the company I used to help in some years ago, and they allow me to go now and pick up the groceries from Prisma. So even very daily routine of going to groceries is now more helpful for me because of this company. The one feature which I hope they will get, that I can have the last order regarding the beer cans. At the moment, my wife can reduce the number of the cans before the order is confirmed. So there's a room for improvement in that place as well. Also, Rescue app is another good example. So if I'm lazy and I want to take some food to the family, I can take the mobile app and find out which restaurants do have leftovers, and I can go and take sushi to my family because of the Rescue. So there are several ways how startup companies can help my everyday life. If you think about mobile banking or how we consuming digital content like music or movies or TV series, all of those innovations are made of startup companies. So therefore, I think we are in the position to maybe help some of the new innovation to be commercialized in the market, which helps their everyday life. Of course, successful stories will bring a solution like that, but the path to get to the global market and work on your business idea is worth to do. Not all the ice hockey players are on the NHL, but still it's worth to coach the juniors, and maybe they get some handy things for their lives. Just like we hope that even who else is entering our processes and our services and events get something which they can utilize in the future. So therefore, we truly believe that startup companies are worth to do. On top of the list, we all know that the majority of new workplaces are formed by the SMEs. And Startup Factory Jyväskylä is one of the players on the ecosystem. And talking about Norway, I had the privilege to be of this mid-Nordic incubation network for a few years. And I visited Norway a few times, and I was very convinced how much good programs they have over there, and the resources and the channels to the international market was very convincing as well. So there's a lot of things we can learn and then maybe share in the future. But now a few slides from our side. We are only one player on the existing ecosystem. On the right bottom, you can see the owners of our company. So we are a non-profit company which helps early stage companies and business idea owners to reach out the potential, and our target is to help to establish the company and then work together with the 12 most potential companies for the 24 months. After that, it's their time to spread their wings and fly out from our incubation nest. none of the incubation program works efficiently alone. That's what I've learned over the years. You have to be part of the ecosystem and bring some value to the niche or the sweet spot of your own. And that's what we are doing. And Startup Factory had recently, or 2 years ago, kind of restarted, and we get new resources. And we truly believe that we have identified the place where to be and how to help the other ones. So we can help even before you establish the company. There's a process called pre-incubation, which nowadays lasts 3 months. We take 3 months sprints and try to identify the things we can achieve within that time. Many times it's related to the business model. Many times we try to find out the right resources needed. So kind of creating executable business plan is the core of the pre-incubation. Many of those who are participating on that process will go in front of the investors and financiers. We organize every second month this financing panel, which gives the feedback about the business idea and how fundable it is. It's not like Dragon Nest or Shark Tank or Leijonaloala. They will not make a decision on that event. It's not.
Marko, you have all the time in the world, which means 60 seconds.
Oh, okay. An incubation program is for those 12 companies who are able to fulfill the criteria, which you can see here. Basically, 6 criteria is to apply to the program. Of course, for the students, we have another service path. So you can, when you work on the business idea, get some student credits, and if you establish the company, you can still get some studies alongside that. Few examples of the topics we go through in the method of incubation, which normally lasts 24 months, and our coaches are able to bring some kind of tacit knowledge and experience and support on these tools. Some successful stories from Jyväskylä over the years. First Beat Stuffix, extremely good examples of successful startup companies, which are now bringing the ROI back to the owners. New workplaces, tax money to the community, and positive images, and so on. And of course, now the entrepreneurs of these companies are helping the next ones. So they are mentors, they are investors from these companies. Here are the few of the existing clients. You will hear from Discovery Street, and also one of our clients in our pre-incubation is Shareway. So there will be more about them. Here are a few reasons why to apply and be part of our incubation program. Here our team, which are many of them do have entrepreneurial background and still work as a half coach and half entrepreneurs, and bring that type of experience for your use. So please contact us.
How do we get in touch with you? I mean, if somebody immediately wants to approach you, what he or she needs to do? How do we reach out?
There is my contact information. I can share it on the chat as well. So I could be the contact point, or whoever you can see on this slide could help you through, and we are more than happy to talk more about the opportunities.
All right, and if you have some questions you would like to ask now, we have the next presenter will be Ilari. So Ilari can already start preparing his mouth in the right and put the words in his mind, and maybe share the slide also if you want to show a slide. So I think that, and I said business factory, but it is indeed a startup factory, like Marko said. But they cook business and they are very experienced. So anything that we do in the startup lab and the university altogether, it's actually very connected to startup factories work. So we are part of that ecosystem, and they do a lot of. We have a question from audience. Pekka is asking, Onerva Care's situation. Do you know how Onerva Care is doing at the moment, Marko?
Well, I'm not the personal coach, so I don't know the latest news, but it's a company which we have been following quite a time, and they've been participating on different kind of events, and it's moving ahead, and they have very interesting new strategy, which I hope we can learn more about in the future. But I cannot reveal details. It's always up to them, and actually that's the thing. We sometimes it's would be very attempting to tell, but the level of information which they have on the websites or on the press release, that's what we can tell about. But the personal coach knows quite far more information, which we have to wait until the entrepreneurs.
Thank you, Marko. Let's give a big hand to Marko.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Slapping you here. That's very well done. Thank you. Next 5 minutes is stolen by Ilari Rajala, who will shock us with the information about the magical Demola. So,
thank you.
Ilari, go. 5 minutes.
Yes. Do you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. My name is Ilari Rajala, and I'm a fourth-year ICT engineering student at Jyväskylä University of Applied Sciences, and I have over 5 years of entrepreneurial experience. Last fall, I was project manager for the local Demola project in Jyväskylä, and now I'm an intern in Yritystehdas, facilitating upcoming Demola projects. I'm also doing my bachelor's thesis for Demola Global. So, what is Demola? Demola students different fields for their company assignment. Demola is an international learning environment, innovating platform where multidisciplinary and multicultural project groups in working life problems. Developing innovative solution models to be used by companies and organizations. Offer students an excellent opportunity for developing their working life capabilities and problem-solving skills, and also get credit from it. Students at University of Jyväskylä and Yngve apply and demo. Our project takes 8 weeks, and Demola has created a process used in the project. Process is a mix of design thinking, scenario approach, and demo building. Here I have a video from last spring that was the first local Demola project in Jyväskylä. And let's see if I can.
I don't think this is like typical of what an exchange student does.
No.
I don't think this is like typical of what an exchange student does.
I'm Unna. I'm studying my master's.
And I'm Ryan.
I'm Farhad.
My name is Daria.
There's no sound in it.
Something is going to happen for better.
We can hear. It's okay.
Okay.
That's why I thought I should join here.
You get to see and get to know the people of Jyväskylä much more better. For me, Jyväskylä is an important city and I want to improve it. So this project is very important for the Jyväskylä's future.
I strongly believe that we as a working group can make an impact on citizens of Jyväskylä.
The best part is feeling of becoming a part of history.
I think if you're looking for something where you could like apply your skills like outside the classroom, then I think this is the place to be. And it's just kind of cool. It's not something you would expect in like a classroom setting.
Yeah, and I think you make new friends. You get this team of people who are all studying something that you might not be studying, and then you get to learn so much more. Like I have already learned so much about AI that I really didn't know much about before.
I would recommend Demola for all students who want to realize their potential and to understand who they really are.
Here is a map that shows Demola partner universities from where students have applied for Demola projects. And as we see, there are students from many different parts of from the world, and it will give many times perspective for solution problems. On the right side, there is our local Demola project from the last fall. where the team, together with sports clubs, designed sport facilities for young people in building at the racetrack Ilari that was no longer in active use. And from this link, we can go to Demola website. You can apply for individual projects or tell how long the application is valid, in which case you are in reserve, waiting for you to be selected to upcoming projects. Feel free to register and apply to Demola projects, as they will certainly broaden your views, and you get experience, a great way of learning new things and use what you have already learned. Thank you.
Thank you, Ilari. And it's important, Tosiaan, it's very important to understand that all the students in our both universities can apply to these programs, and also that we have University of Jyväskylä as a team and client project that shares many similar characteristics. And we will have Reija next time pitching about that, explaining how it works. And also I noted here that looking at that we have the broader ecosystem of Jyväskylä, of course, includes also, yes, Akseli has been the previous chairperson of this team, and also we have Juha Saukkonen from YAMK, which is important to understand how the ecosystem runs as all the players come together. We will have in the coming startup days, we will have all the players will come and have an opportunity. So we are not, let's say, the tyhjentää pankkia, so robbing the bank the day one. So we are having also other opportunities, and we will come back. But hey, thank you, Ilari. Big hand to you. Thank you for coming here and sharing the Demola opportunity. Well done. Now we will hear from the startuppers themselves. I asked Mika, Korhonen, and Akseli, Jaara to share their war stories, and we start with Mika. Mika, you have your time starts right now, so go ahead. Discovery Street OY.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
And you can see me also on the screen. Yes?
Yes, we can see the screen as well.
Yes, very good. It is a pleasure to be here, of course, you know, and share an not so typical story of a company. This is Discovery Street, and our slogan is positive impact to the society. And this was our founding question. We have all been 15 to some of us now 30 years in a corporate world, and we'd like to know that how can we use our professional capacity to create an impact? Because within a corporate, you know, you are locked up to do what the big boss says. You are not able to really do everything you want to do. And how can we use that capacity that we have developed over the years for the good of the society? How can we still, you know, do something before we are sitting in the chair in the old days and look back and that we did actually do something, we did contribute? And from this question, that how can we create an impact, we created Discovery Street, which is really an impact first company. One of the things that when I was thinking more than 3 years ago to become an entrepreneur, I was thinking that I want to do things for free also. Not everything you need to do need to make money, and not everything makes money right away. I wanted to do so much more to contribute, and at the same time have mechanisms to also to pay the bills and etc. I have 4 kids, and in the company we are now 8 people. I think we have in total, you know, a couple of dozen of kids, and we have to support them. But at the same time, how can we create the impact? We are using a model called IOOE, which is first developed in Germany and here in Finland used by Sitra, which IOOE stands for investment, output, outcome, and impact, where the impact indicators are telling that are we creating what we do, are we creating something which is actually creating impact to the society, and solely focusing on growth in form of personal growth or business growth forces you focus on internal things, and we didn't want to do that. We don't have any even we don't even have a business model to really to annoy the Yritystehdas where we are sitting at. We are thinking that first that how can we create the impact to the society, and then believe that the money, the income, that all of that will come, and also do that in a just and a good way. So because we believe also that the how noble the goal is, even saving the world, the end doesn't justify the means. So that also the how to get there in dignified, noble, just, righteous, collective, organic way is equally important. And it is perfectly okay to get wealthy if everybody can be wealthy. And so these are very kind of noble and high goals, but and we this is how we define ourselves right now. We want to create positive impact to the society. We believe that the economy should serve the humanity and not the other way around. And we are transforming companies into communities and helping them to become both internally, externally good. We are helping also bringing people together and allow them to release their potential as human beings. And we are creating a new game. So the entrepreneurship supporting programs are not really, maybe they don't really know how to support us, but we have, but this is our kind of mission that we are after. I am showing you two examples of projects that we are working on. The first one, actually the advisor of this project is sitting right here. Pekka is here. It's called Health Coach Digital, and it uses the data generated by the sports and wellness devices and AI to solve some of the biggest health issues in the world. I don't want to go deeper in this right now here because we are lack of time, but you can read all about it in our website. And second project, what we are working on, is called Kansalaisopisto 2.0. Maybe somebody can quickly translate Kansalaisopisto into English, but it's a mechanism which was formed 1899, so over 100 years ago, where people needed to have an educational and civistus, a kind of an education beyond this formal school education. And we are currently in a process with in finding funding with Sitra, where to contribute to the change in the society, where this lifelong learning is seen much more diverse process than acquiring formal education, attending to courses. And it continues throughout your life, whether you are a professional project manager or a hair stylist or whatever. And this we are proposing a pilot where this professional learning happens in informal local peer-to-peer networks, so that people are teaching each other based on the learning from the international product tank concept. Maybe you have heard about it. And right now we are calling a largest possible public sector participation in this enterprise to summon the common will and common action to do this. So this is again something, now you ask, so how does this bring money to Discovery Street? Well, the answer is we don't know. We have no clue. We of course know that when we are doing these things, whether it's this Health Coach Digital or Kansalaisopisto 2.0 or whatever we will come up on Monday, it will, of course, be a participant in these discourses will lead to at some point into also, to be, financially successful. What I'm, this is very bold to say this, to be working for 100% for humanity, but I think that we don't have any other option right now. Working for ourselves or just generating, bigger wealth and salaries, we could all do that. We all 8 people could do that easily, but we chose not to. We chose to contribute our time and energy, and we threw out those projects to something else which is way bigger than us, way bigger challenges. And we believe that all of this can be done here in a small city in Jyväskylä. So, just finish it up. If you want to read more and join the party, go and check our blog in the discoverystreet.fi/blog.
Thank you, Mika. When we join the party, is there anywhere in the future a salary coming? So I mean that in order that makkara comes to table and so sausage piece at least once in a while. So how does that work? It sounds all exciting. I'm sure many are very interested. What is your proposal in joining the party?
Well, there, in the history of humankind, there was nowhere in time was a potato peeled using practical principles. It always needs some action. You need to do something, material, money, to make the world change. So it's not only the salaries, but we need, of course, finances, maybe impact investment, which actually understands the value of impact to invest to us or to the projects. But at the same time, we need to just take care of that, to have enough, work with the clients, for example, which are generating the income. And that's it, it doesn't need to all do that, but you need some of it, and, as Pekka, you need to have the fuel to your Jaguar, we need to have fuel to our 500,000 kilometers used Peugeot, that's,
yes, now that you mentioned it, it's pretty cold for Jaguar these days.
Exactly, I know.
Rebecca is saying kudos to Discovery Street. I think that this is feeding into many people's minds. The 100% humanity kind of a thinking is something really, actually it's really fresh. It's really like it makes you think that why are we here? And I think that with all that experience that you guys have had and have is actually, it's like giving back to the community, giving back to what Jyväskylä is, and hopefully more broadly than only here.
Exactly.
We had the address. We now know how to reach you, and we will join the party. Let's give a big hand to Mika for a great presentation.
Thank you so much.
And let's go to Akseli, who has been everywhere in this ecosystem. He has been to also the Startup Lab, and he is one of those entrepreneurs that will never stop entrepreneuring, and he is on the way to big success. Shareway, Akseli, Jaara, also the ex-president of Yes. Please, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Pekka, and thank you for inviting us to here. And I'm Akseli, Jaara, and I'm here to tell you about Shareway. And since I'm not pitching, I'm telling a story. I don't have any slides to present, and I guess you guys see slides all the day from Zooms and Teams and etc. But if you want to view something else than my face, then there's our website, shareway.fi. So I'll tell you a story about Shareway and where we are right now and where we are headed. As Pekka's email said, to the US, hopefully some point, but it all started on 2019 when we applied on the Jyväskylä City Challenge. And before that, all of us actually have a background on information system sciences. Most of us, we have a background on Jyväskylä Entrepreneurship Society, and almost all of us have a background on Jyväskylä University's software startup lab. And that's actually how we met each other. We, of course, knew each other through studies from information system sciences, and I was working for Pekka, and Evelina and Renne were working on this other project, and City of Jyväskylä had this study made about the mobility of Jyväskylä city center, which stated that the utilization of private parking spots is extremely low, and that's where we got the idea for Shareway and what it is right now. And it stated that the utilization rate of private parking spots is only 28 to 52%, meaning that most of those parking spots are unused most of the time of the day. And of course, on the same time, on the city size of Jyväskylä, even in the city of size of Jyväskylä, people felt that parking is difficult and also expensive. And we saw these two problems and wanted to form it to one working solution. And that's how we made up Shareway, which is a platform, a mobile application for easy on-demand peer-to-peer parking spot rental. So any one of you guys can actually set up your parking spot, make it available on our service, and anybody could park onto your spot and pay a little fee from it. And you can make money simultaneously parking somewhere and renting out your own spot for someone else. And with this idea, we went to the Jyväskylä City Challenge, and actually back in the day, I had these two companies, Shareway and Around, and both of us got into the Jyväskylä City Challenge and had to go forward with both of those. And Shareway was the one that actually went forward, and we got this little 3,000 euros worth of grant to actually test our idea. And on May 2019, we had the company going on, and we were building this first prototype, proof of concept kind of thing on Jyväskylä. And on July 2019, we had our first prototype going on with the YAM parking spots. And it was truly a prototype, truly just a proof of concept. It was built with shit and sticks in a couple months of time. It didn't do much else that you could reserve a spot and park there. And it wasn't even a service that the money was moving around. We just wanted to find out if it's something that people are interested of, if people would use that. And it actually was. And that's how, and that's why we planned to and wanted to move forward with it. And of course, after that, it was we spent huge amount of time and with the processes of product development. And in March 2020, we were ready with our product, with the MVP solution to launch it in Jyväskylä. And our plan was to publish it on the app stores and gather users and gather parking spots. And after that, people with cars, and then start the parking spot rental, because on the two-sided business models, you need the critical mass of both sides of users. But as you know, the hell broke loose on March 2020, and we couldn't launch. We had the application on the app stores ready, the MVP ready, but we couldn't do the launch, and it was frustrating. But for the next six months, we worked really hard with the B2B kind of things and developing the MVP even further, but that was super difficult because on the MVP stage, you actually have to have your product on the market so you can develop it on the way you want to develop it. Because user feedback is the number one most important thing you need when you're developing your own platform or service or whatever it is. And on the September 2020, we actually had the opportunity to launch, and we did. And we got good results, not anything exponential, no hockey stick growth, but we're on the road to it. And right now it's been live on Jyväskylä for 6 months, and we're on the pre-incubator for Jyväskylä Yritystehdas. And right now we're on the spot where we're expanding to 2 other cities, and next up there's Turku. It's not United States yet, but it's expanding here in Finland. And there's lots of interesting things going on, gathering funding and trying to get in the Yritystehdas incubator and expanding to other cities here in Finland. And after that, on the 1 year of time, we're planning to actually go abroad. And of course, since you're all, most of you are students and thinking about entrepreneurship and startups. So one piece of advice that ties to the thing that whether or not you want to go abroad and Shareway going to the United States. So when thinking of a problem that you want to solve, you want to have a problem that is so broad that the solution will be scalable enough. But the solution has to be in this certain shade that you can actually penetrate the market. And that's of course what we want to do with Shareway. We're solving problems that are global in urban city areas with the focus on on-demand peer-to-peer parking slot rental. Well, the problem is global and solution has to work everywhere, and also the place we start, which means Jyväskylä, but also let's say USA, where we of course want to be in the future. And I guess that's that. Please check out the website and of course download the app if you have a car or a parking spot or anything else, or just want to give feedback about it. We're open to everything. And do you guys have any questions?
Well, I mean, I'm #1 user whenever this Corona goes over, because I visit Crazy Town all the time in the city. I'm a member there. Also, Crazy Town will come and talk to us one of these days. But it's immensely hard to have a reasonable priced parking slot. So I think that the central city is a really optimum place. I would really use it all the time. It just stopped this traveling altogether, and that has been the timing of launching because I remember when Renne was talking about it in mid-March 2020, is that now we go out, and then then the Prime Minister said that let's stop doing anything and everything. So it's remarkable how the timing was accurately there. And but I mean, you are still going forward strong, so you are relentless. And also I have learned looking at you guys that although you feel that when you are in the entrepreneurship study or you set up the startup activities, everything develops so fast, so many things happening, you have so many events here and there, but you have to sustain the activity for quite some time. And now Akseli has been with this a couple of years already, right?
Yeah.
And it looks like you will stick another couple of years because you are going forward.
Yeah, it looks like so. And of course, you have to attend everything you can. You never know what could it bring to attend Jyväskylä University's Startup Day, for example.
Yes, I mean we don't know what the future will bring us. But hey, I think that Akseli is an excellent example and a role model for many of us here. We wish him the best of luck and give him a big hand for the great words that he made. And I think that we will now hear from we have actually the startupper here who wants to pitch. So maybe Jonas will do the introduction, and we will hear at least one pitch. And if there are more, we're happy to hear them. This is Startup Day. We have time left, so let's go for the pitches. And now we have so much mentorship and experience around that we can provide our feedback, idea, and maybe jump on it. So let's hear it from Jonas. Who is going to be the pitcher?
Apart from Jason here, are there any other people who want to pitch their startup or any startup ideas currently here? At least for now, it doesn't seem like it. So we could start with Jason's pitch.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. So this is Fukutv, and I want to tell you a story. I used to visit a laundromat that was run by a sweet old lady. She had a claw machine so kids could play a game while parents washed their clothes. She had a problem, though. The redemption games are big, like super, super big. They eat up a ton of square footage and require someone else, a vendor, to not only service them, but also offer customer support. Now, one possible solution to this problem, to the square footage problem, is to shrink the size of the machines. In fact, these machines have become so small, they've been shrunk down to basically 4 of them can fit into the size of one traditional machine. And yeah, you quadruple the potential earnings per square foot, and you also quadruple the problems. You also quadruple your reliance on vendor support. So you'd better hope that you have a great vendor, because the longer that machine is down for maintenance or missing prizes, the more money you lose. And let's be honest here, you can only shrink these machines down so much before they get a little ridiculous. Of course, the other problem is that you have to rely on a vendor to be physically present at your location to service the machines, and that puts the store owner at the mercy of somebody else's schedule. Well, what if you could have the same gameplay experience and thrill of winning prizes while taking up 1/8 of the size of a traditional claw machine and not need a vendor to constantly restock and maintain that machine? I'm Jason Pullara, founder of Fukutv, and we're a redemption machine streaming service. We offer real-time streaming of games such as claw machines and are building a kiosk system that brings the redemption arcade into the streaming age. I have a little bit of a real-time demo here that I'd love to show you guys. With our unique technology, we can bring video of these machines to your desktop in near real time, your mobile device, your desktop, or even a kiosk that we're developing. And it costs us a fraction of what a traditional low latency media server would cost us. Our live interaction, provided both on location and online, allows users to feel the thrill of the win, or in that case, losing. This went way better when I practiced. The thrill of the win from the comfort of their home while waiting in line or while doing the laundry. Right now, we're a bootstrap startup. We are asking for $25,000 in seed capital. It'll fund development of our kiosk system and begin our on-location marketing strategy. We have a revenue model. It consists of, man, I just cannot win even the easy stuff today. We have a revenue model that consists of recurring subscriptions as well as pay per play. Our subscription model, which we are calling Fuku Hyper, gives players free shipping on all prizes won and additional free plays per day. Slide 8, please. There we go. So in our timeline, we're currently in the development process. We have an MVP in Fukutv, and we are actively developing the kiosk system. Our market is we're targeting 2 different markets: the vending industry and the family entertainment center. The vending industry is valued at about $7 billion in the U.S. with an annual growth rate of about 10%. FECs are valued at about $21 billion with a similar growth rate. The problem with both of these markets is over the last 2 years, they have contracted about 2% over the last year and a total of about 2.5% over the last 2 years. But we feel like this makes room for newcomers into both of these industries. But more importantly, Fukutv is the only business that makes the most efficient use of retail square footage, has the best customer service potential, and maximally limits price theft and machine break-ins, and is completely location agnostic. And for us, this is just the beginning. At Fukutv, we're not just entering the vending machine business in a unique way. We're going to change the face of the video game industry forever. So again, my name is Jason. This is Fukutv, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Fukutv. Amazing. And it happened like I always would, because I remember those machines, and it was actually exactly like Jason was doing that. It's pretty hard to crack it, but I think it is possible. Jason, before I let the other people to ask, who is Jason that we will give 25K to? And so who is Jason?
So I'm a man with about 25 years experience in the live streaming industry. I started off as a beta tester for Real Media and their Real Streams, and I moved on forward to being a face at Twitch.tv. I was one of the original partners at Twitch before it was Twitch, over at Justin TV, and I helped them transition over into Twitch TV, gave them a few ideas, and decided to stake out on my own. From there, I built out a live streaming service at lordcat.com that was based on a LAMP service. And I've done various streaming things since then. I'm currently, I was employed by webcast.com, where we do live webcasts for pretty large institutions. I can't particularly name the individual institutions, but I can say that they own buildings in Manhattan. So you can imagine the size and scope of the problem we solved there. I also ran my own vending business for several years out in Michigan, where you basically run around and you restock machines and you maintain the machines, and you get to talk to very angry store owners who want you there immediately when something goes wrong. So I kind of get that. And I'm also a software dev guy who does things in Node.js, a little bit of React, and a whole lot of FFmpeg. So that's me. I'm the full-time member of this team. I have two other part-time members, Ernie and Jimmy. Ernie's our IT guy who deals specifically with cloud engineering and a little bit of software dev, and Jimmy's our UI guy who does UI engineering and is a very passionate gamer as well.
All right, thanks. And where are you physically located, if that is a question that can be
I'm
asked?
physically, and the machine is physically located in New Hampshire, in the United States, and we have tests from Russia, from Norway, Japan, and Australia that show that our system can stream live video around the world at about 50 milliseconds or less, which is basically imperceptible to the human while playing.
Excellent. Thank you. Now I very impressive. Now I already signed in. I'm going to try it out now, and I see that there are quite many other people there as well.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of traction. We don't have millions of users just yet, but we're getting there. We do have a little bit of traction, and people have found us just by searching for these types of games. And most of the people we have here have come off Google or just word of mouth reference.
All right. Let's ask if there's some people who want to before money is being thrown at, but I'm sure that some of us are already opening our pockets. But any observations, ideas, questions to Jason? I'm signing up at the same time, so that's why I'm clicking here.
I'm curious, how did the Fukutv name come about? So I have a little bit. I wouldn't call myself a weeaboo, but I do have a little bit of a fascination with the Japanese culture. And I was learning kanji for a while, and I found out a very unique word in Japanese, has two meanings when written out in its romanization, and it is good fortune, which is what Fuku stands for. It stands for good fortune. Obviously, you're playing a claw machine, good luck. It also has a second meaning, which means clothing, but hopefully nobody really confuses that. So yeah, that's how the name came about. It just meant good fortune, and I had the website for a while and decided that this would be a really good name for the particular claw machine. And you came so close to getting that.
Yes, that's me. All right. Yeah, I'm just playing here, so you guys, you just ask questions, and I'm already here doing my thing. Pretty crazy. Mika, what do you think?
Well, it's a strange place.
It has its audience. It has it's not
Yes.
it's not the type of game for everybody. It is the type of game for people who would go to a laundromat or a grocery store and play this type of game when it's sitting on the side. Yes, it's not
What is the biggest stack of these games in one place that you have encountered with?
The biggest stack of these games, the miniature version I have seen at NeoFun's arcade. They have a wall of them, 4x4, and it comes out to a total of 24 of these machines against the wall.
Whoa, okay.
And the biggest machine I've seen is a gargantuan sized one that was down by the in Wildwood, New Jersey, the New Jersey Boardwalk. It's basically the size of a theater. They strap you into it, and somebody else controls you, and you try to pick up a prize.
The place I played this is, of course, in Finland. We do the ship from Helsinki to Stockholm and back, and they had this, and I lost a good deal of my money, and it looks like I'm doing the same. So I'm happy that I have these free credits. So how much? You said you want 25K. Doesn't sound too much in a way. Where does it take you? 25K.
The 25,000 gets us a kiosk, the kiosking system, which we can then market to individual businesses. It's not a 25K that's going to hire anyone. This is just for us to build it out and get the actual physical presence working. As you see, we have the machine working. We have other machines in the pipeline as well that are going to be working. And the general idea will be to have multiple machines on one kiosk, where you don't have to be burdened with just one big machine there. You can choose various different machines to play. I have a private question here. Your vending industry figure was massive. It must contain subcategories. Where would you go next to grow? The vending industry figures include all of vending. So that includes physical machines with candy and soda, as well as claw machines and other redemption arcades. So the figure itself does need to be refined a bit in the slides. I do apologize for that. But to grow beyond this, our vision beyond this is our first step. But our vision beyond this is to sort of redefine what people consider to be maybe a physical redemption game or even a video game, and create this and create a hybrid between the two. One of the working prototypes we have in the back end is to overlay this with what you would describe as an RPG or a role-playing game, where you would earn points and use those points to spend in the role-playing game or on prizes as well. So we're going towards that hybrid right now. What happens is if one wins the game, will you send object to the player? So at the moment, this is just
somebody just won 2, and now they are grabbing their third.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Somebody just won 2. I mean, 2 of the hamburgers.
Yeah, they're cleaning me out. Tommy just won 2 hamburgers. Thank you, Tommy. So what happens if one wins? At the moment, we're in pre-beta, so you're not winning anything right now. But once we switch Swipe live and we start taking payments, you'll be winning points, and it'll act more as a redemption machine. And of course, the prizes you see in there are prizes you'll be able to receive to redeem. So you can, we have a checkout page. You'll be able to redeem any particular prize you like based on the number of points you have. And you won't win the prizes in the machine itself. There'll be separate prizes that are sanitized, and we're not gonna, I'm not gonna risk sending COVID to you or anything like that.
So Jason, what is your pricing model to those people, enterprises who would like to have your game located into their premises? Is it a subscription based? Is it some kind of revenue sharing, or?
So it's a revenue sharing system. If you want to, if you're willing to have the machine on location, it's free to you. We would still own the machine, but we would place it on location. The machine would require an internet connection that the enterprise would have to provide, and as power as well. But it would be a revenue sharing model. So any money that is spent there at the location is shared with the location, obviously based on negotiations with that location. We're hoping for, a 50-50 split, but sometimes they want a little bit more. And the model is not just based around how much money you physically put into the machine or you spend on a card. It's also based around how many non-free credits you play on the machine. So if your account has $10 already loaded onto it, you could spend those $10 at the location and it would still qualify for the revenue share.
Okay, thanks.
Got a growth idea. This idea would attract pinball enthusiasts. If you do pinball this way, they always complain that the digital games don't capture the feeling correctly. We have tested pinball, and it's way too fast. we have to absolutely develop some better technology than pretty much anyone has right now to make pinball play the right way. And as somebody who enjoys arcade games and pinball myself, it's a bit difficult. So yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Yes, I mean, this really a lot of reactions, a lot of amazements. How much work was the build the prototype or the demo here that you demoed?
You're staring at it right now. That was a lot of work. And it's the cool thing about it is that I've gotten it down to a process of building out these machines in particular. There are some phases left to go in terms of where we want to be. Right now, we're still utilizing the onboard computer on these machines. We want to bypass those. I'm not an electrical engineer, so I am taking a class on how to do this to control these. I think they're 48-volt motors directly. We're using IoT devices like Raspberry Pis and Arduinos. But it took the better part of, to get the basics working, it took the better part of 2 days. And then obviously over the last few months, we've improved it since.
What's the response? I mean, here you have like a lot of smiley faces. I mean, I don't know if people are smiling behind the black screens, but that's the Corona days. But we have to, I have a feeling that a lot of smiley faces and a lot of kind of positive thinking. So what's the typical response that you have received so far?
The typical response has been super positive. Most people that I work with in my industry, the streaming media industry, don't believe me at first when I tell them what we're doing, and then I bring it up on the cell phone, or they bring it up on their cell phone. And this even works even down to 3G to a lesser extent with 3G. The video tends to be a little choppy, but they're amazed. They're absolutely amazed that this works and that it's this fun. It's actually pretty amazing to have a physical machine virtualized and still be as entertaining as it is when you're in front of it at the boardwalk or at a laundromat or something.
Okay, let's give a big round of applause for Jason for great demo, great pitch. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
And there was one more question because Juha is relentless in asking. So he has a question about combining the vending and gaming machine.
Can you combine a vending and gaming machine? Would you like to put $50 and try to get this item $1 cheaper? Those vending machines exist. They're actually really popular in Japan. They usually refitted retro claw catchers, which are essentially claw machines. I'm sorry, UFO catchers, not claw catchers. They're essentially claw machines, but they only have 2 prongs that come down and try to grab the items. You'll see them typically with candy bars or boxes of chocolate or things like that, and they'll do things like that. You can fill these with whatever you want, really, as long as the claw is big enough to grab it. It makes for a very interesting sort of game, and these games can be modified as well to have different styles of gameplay. Right now, this is just a traditional claw machine, but this can be reconfigured to have, say, a prize on the end of a stick, and you only have one of the claws are active on the 3-prong claw machine, and try to grab the item at the end of the stick and just sort of push it at the end of the pole and knock it down into the prize chute. There's a variety of different methods and techniques and gameplay setups you can do for just this machine alone.
Okay, thank you, Jason. You obviously have studied the industry quite in detail.
Yeah, I'm a little obsessive when it comes to stuff. So once I start reading about something and I like it, it's a deep dive until insanity, I guess.
I think we might hear from Fukutv in the future. I have this feeling that you guys will not stop easily. But thank you so much. Now we go into our cocktail chatter. So I was thinking that that we have before the summer we have still one more startup day coming up. So what would be the if if we would be able to get a Steve Blank here or anything? I'm trying to do like think about something, getting a super big name. But besides that, what would be the thing you'd like to see or hear or to be presented, shown in such an event? Because we try to build this forum that it's like an amoeba, so it can adapt to be whatever. We don't have any rules other than we have to be doing lawful stuff, but beyond that I think anything goes. So any thoughts that you have had during this? We still have more than 30 people here, so any thoughts that you might have had listening to these talks, seeing the pitch by Jason and the team, that you'd like to experience in a couple of months of time? Also, I see that there is this guru man, Jarno Mikkonen, here as well, who knows everything about the IPR issues. So perhaps that could be interesting to have a few words about that, but I don't know. The floor is yours. I mean, to ideate. You can just unmute. That's fine. Anybody, you can put on the cameras if you have one, and if you want.
Well, not for this event, for the next event, obviously, but at some point I would like to see kind of physical presence. But for the next event, that's obviously not going to happen if it's going to be in a couple of months.
Sure, it's possible. So we will fly Jason in from Michigan. Easy, done.
Listen, I got my passport ready, man. I'm ready to travel. I'm tired of this lockdown stuff. I'll go anywhere.
Yeah. What about others? What are the kind of thoughts that you may have? And that because we have these, there are enough events in the world, enough Zoom-based stuff. So not just having something that that would be meeting the kind of the need, so to speak. As a pitching platform, this is important. We have to have a pitching platform that is open to the world. And that's why we always use English. We're always going to see, and this is for us something that we do always. But besides that, I'm thinking that wouldn't mind having a real cocktail here now, but that's fine. Jarno has found a microphone.
Yes, and actually also the video. Yeah, I was. I'm sort of hanging around to see if there's anything that I could help in this IPR sense, and the pitching is a bit difficult for this kind of for example, patenting and stuff, because usually when you're pitching and telling your sort of the great idea, then you're already revealing the invention.
But Jarno, I know everybody knows in the world who is Jarno Mikkonen, but perhaps 2 words about you. Who is Jarno Mikkonen?
Oh yes, sorry.
About IPRs.
Yeah, I've been studying brain and the sort of the combination between the human or animal brain and the computer brain for maybe 20 years, and now switched gears some 2 years ago to do patenting, so immaterial and immaterial rights, the patents, trademarks, and stuff like that, inventions, and how to protect the inventions, and what is an invention, and so on. And in this capacity, I've been hanging around with Pekka and trying to figure out how to promote this kind of startup spirit in the university, and It's looking good. There's plenty of fancy stuff, and not all of them are patentable, and they don't have to be. So you can have a perfect good solution and do fine with your business, and you don't have to worry about the patents. It's not for everybody, but it depends on your solution and on your innovation, and of course also on your company strategy, whether you want to profit from this immaterial rights or not. So, but yeah, I'm.
What about? I was just thinking that regarding the patenting thing. That Jason, have you patented this? Is there something patentable? Are you protected somehow? Are you open to be stolen? That I start coding the same thing immediately when I hear this. So, are you? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, we have an application started. Obviously, the whole application process, especially here in the U.S., is kind of ass. So we have an application started, and we're going through the legal process of getting our streaming tech patented.
And in US, you can also register your copyrights, which might be a good idea as well.
Yeah. So the copyright registration is happening under the LLC, and that's a separate process. But yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, then the other thing is that if you have this nice like Fukutv, then the brand to protect and live with
and the
trademarks.
Yeah,
trademarks,
it's just
like
all of the fun IP protection stuff that has to happen that costs a ton of money. I know. It's great.
It is, yeah. And but they're also sort of different sides of the sort of the puzzle. So,
I have this feeling that this patenting stuff in the startup world is something that could be actually discussed here, because I think giving hits and tips, losing my English skills here. So for startuppers is something that in this kind of relaxed environment would be good, because I think that there are some tiny mistakes done with not understanding exactly how it works and when it's actually beneficial and when it's not, because you are not always benefiting by protection, although you might think because there are money involved, there's a process, there's time, but also there are things that you should know definitely, because investor wants to know if you're protected.
Exactly. Yeah. I think this is one of the. So in this kind of the business wise, that if you're selling your company or if you're looking for a venture capital money, then you usually the first question you are asked is that what's your intellectual property rights? What do you have? Do you have your trademark? Do you have your patents? Do you own your okay, you have the copyright for the software, but even that might not be enough. So in those cases, absolutely, you need to be aware of whether have it or not. But the problem is also that in some cases it might become quite expensive, especially the patenting part.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm aware of that. It's bleeding me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Then again, I guess the key here is that somebody else pays it for you.
This is the best. Yeah. So you can have the venture capital money, or then, for example, in Finland, like Business Finland or some other these kind of funding agencies that can support or help. But in the software, I just came across in this one unnamed company that they wanted to protect their software, but turns out that, like so many others, they're not creating it from the scratch. They are borrowing other people's libraries and stuff like that, and they're using open source.
We definitely utilize some open source too. We don't.
Yeah, but it depends on the open source and which one you're using, so that.
Oh well, we're not like there's no open source out there that does this, but we utilize things like Node.js, and there's some libraries in there.
Sure. Yeah. Some parts you can, and some of them sort of allow you to, even if you're using the open source, that allow you to, to protect the piece you're building on top of it. But some of them are sort of that if you're using the software, you have to also with the same terms, give away the software you developed.
I understand what you're saying, but nobody directly interacts with that in either case. But I mean, if you want a copy of, if you want the source code to the Node.js version I'm using, man, you can just go there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So,
but that would be an interesting subject. I'd like to hear at something like this again on the subject of IP and how to protect it. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think it's something, and now that we have somehow wiggled Jarno in our community, so for all the bribes we have given, luckily we are recording this, so it stays also for the future generations to look at. But this is good because we have now established these contacts as a part of the being in an ecosystem, and I think this is a great thing. We are in time to close the event, and we are still looking at the super early extravaganza from Jason's screen. I'm just hooked up, and I'm thinking that there should be the name of the person there visible, so we know who is actually playing. And I would start spending my evening with doing something real with my life. But I think that's some. I will actually want to do something else. And I thank you for everyone. Is there someone who wants to say something here at the end as for the closing of today's event, the first ever Startup Day? Maybe we give Jonas Himmanen, who is the originator of this.
You're cutting a little. Okay.
I think the claw machine has killed his internet connection.
Okay, Pekka, you're back.
Oh, sorry. I said. See, I have only 1 gigabyte in the Elisa, but it seems to be somehow not so great today. So I was asking Jonas to say a few words here at the end because Jonas is the originator of this event. So,
yeah, in my opinion, this has been a success. There were a lot of interesting speeches here and a great pitch by Jason. And hopefully in the future events, we will see a lot of more startups and, of course, interesting talking topics. Actually, I did have one talking topic in my mind because I was reflecting from my own experiences when I was in a slush. And the problem was that I had no idea what I was doing. I went there kind of like jacket open, takki auki, like they say in Finnish, and I was just testing the waters, but I wasn't really sure what the people there, like the investors and so on, wanted to see. And turns out they wanted to see a lot of numbers and that kind of stuff. So there could be a kind of like lecture to give small hints what you should do when you are going to investor events and that kind of stuff, or when you're in generally talking to investors.
That's a good approach. The takki auki, the Finnish approach to victory, is great to learn what could be done. I think that's a good idea. I think that to have like hits and tips, and also to show some example numbers that how does it work. Akseli would say it's the hockey stick that you have to show. Whether it's real or not, it has to be hockey stick.
I actually have an idea for one kind of event. You were talking about having some kind of superstars there presenting something, and I think a great choice would be these local superstars at MEOM, since they nowadays have this unicorn platform thing. I'll send the link on the chat. So since they're attending loads of early stage startuppers or somebody that thinks about going on with those things, maybe they could have some kind of workshop with how to go on with the proof of concepts or something like that.
It's an excellent point. Yes. Mainostoimisto, I don't remember the name, came from it.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. It's very bright people. Thank you for that. We have to really be in contact. Yes, you're right. Thanks for sharing. All right, time is now to the end. Let's give a nice warm applause to the audience that we have had today. Thank you so much.
Jonas, I promise you I will bring some people to pitch from YAMK next time.
And we will hold on you on that, and also you can then present what is
they
the
join me voluntarily or not.
Yeah,
that's good to hear.
YAMK ecosystem, because it's an important player, and also Yes will be next time presenting. So we look forward to that. It will be somewhere magically in May. We have no clue when. We have to start planning. So we do a bit of planning and then we announce. Thank you for everyone. Until next time. And Jason, keep it up. Bye-bye.